Hello and welcome back to another Agent is In. This is episode 26, and Herman is joining us. He's the product manager for CFEngine to show us what's new in CFEngine 3.22, which was just released a couple of weeks ago. Herman?
Yeah, so we can pretty much get into it and kind of do a live demo today. Yeah, I opened up the release blog post here, which has some screenshots and some details about the things that we are looking at. So feel free to read that afterwards. And we'll just change over to Mission Portal here. So in 3.22, there is one big feature, which is groups. But I kind of wanted to start with some of the smaller things first. So let's look at reports. Here, we have an inventory report, and there's new interface for editing the columns here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove memory size, and we can add CFEngine version, for example. So this makes it a lot easier to edit and drag and drop these columns here. And maybe I want to remove the OS kernel there. And then when we save it, we get the new report. Also here, there are new host filters. So a bunch of things that are different here. You can filter the hosts in this report using conditions or list of hosts. So if I want to say Red Hat, then you can now just put in classes here. So in CFEngine, we have a class for Red Hat Pure, which is Red Hat and not like CentOS and other Red Hat derivatives. And when I click apply, we see that it's filtered for just the rel host. And you can combine these with other conditions, other rules. So CFEngine version was something that we just saw here. You can add this. I like regex 322. 322, maybe those, and then star. And of course, that's the same there. That was just one host. If we remove the Red Hat one, we can see that now I'm getting all of the 322 ones. And if I'm removing this again, we come back here and we see that it's 321 as well. So that's kind of host filters and columns in the inventory reports, which this host filter feature is the basis for what we're now introducing as groups. So here is the groups application. I've made some groups already. So we can take a look at the first one. I call this all hosts. The filter here, which you can see is the same filter that's from the inventory report, is empty because it's all hosts. And you get a summary of what is in this group in terms of OS, CFEngine versions, and then you get the list of hosts. And you can open it in an inventory report as well. If we go back to the groups, we can take a look at a more fun example. So rel here, that's basically what we showed in the inventory report. So it has the Red Hat Pure as the condition, and it's one host in this group. Yeah, these are quite similar. We can now make a new group. So let's say that we want CFEngine 321 as a group. And for this, I'm going to do what we did earlier in the inventory report, say CFEngine version. regex 321 and then whatever. So now we have this group of 321 machines, which could be useful if you're wanting to see which ones you need to upgrade. So you have a group of all of the hosts that are running a certain version, and then you can act on that. So with the groups here, you can obviously see data about them, but you can also edit the data for that group. For this to work, it needs to be a shared group. So those are the groups that are kind of available to the rest of the organization. And that allows you to edit the data of that group. So something we normally like to do is to say that there's a maintainer for machines. Maybe to make this a more realistic example, we can go to the Ubuntu group. Let's say that Nick is the maintainer here, for example. So maintainer, Nick Anderson. I also want this to be an inventory, so I'm going to say inventory and attribute name is maintainer, and then Nick is responsible. So now that means that all of the hosts in this group get this variable with Nick as the maintainer. We could do the same for maintainer email. Let's say Nick Anderson at example.com.
So RFC compliant.
And yeah, let's just call it maintainer email. Can make it a long name. Contact him. So this is similar to what we had before for CMDB, host specific data, but now obviously it's for the entire group. If we go back to the overview, should be able to pick a host. In this case, I know that the hub is also Ubuntu, so should be fine to show this on the hub. Let's see if we need to refresh something here. So let's just search. No maintainer yet. It's fine. Let's run it. So for the policy and for the client here, this data looks the same as the host specific data that we had before. There's no real changes needed there for things to work correctly on the client side. It's just rendered here on the hub. So here we see that now this host has a maintainer and the maintainer email address, and that's without editing its host specific data. It's coming from the group, and it's going to be the same for all of the other hosts in that group. So all of them get Nick as the maintainer now.
What happens if you set maintainer here to Herman?
Good question. We can try that. So now we've set the same variable and the same attribute name here. With a different name, we could do the same for email, but it's basically the same. So let's try refreshing this. Now, obviously, the hub has to re-render the file for this host and get that distributed to the host. And then we get the reporting data back that what's the current value of this one. So now it says Herman. This is because the merging behavior here is that the host specific data is more specific, and thus it overwrites what is there from the group.
Cool.
Okay. So that's the gist of groups. Any more questions, Nick or Craig?
I'm curious how the multiple groups work. Like if you have the multiple shared groups, so we overrode the data here on like an individual host. Yeah.
So in the list here, you have a index of their priority. So this one is sorted from 1 through 6 here, and it basically means that this one is first priority.
Okay.
So they're merged in this order. What you might want to do is say that all hosts could be the lowest priority. So now all of these things are kind of prioritized. So if you put something for the hub here in the hubs group, that's going to be higher priority than the Ubuntu group.
And then is the host specific? Is that like 0 or is it like?
Yeah, exactly. So the host specific is, in the end, it's treated as the most specific, highest prioritized.
Yeah, cool.
And a simple example we saw here was the string, like overriding the maintainer string. But if you're having lists of things, then they will be merged. So you can put a list of maintainers or files to delete or anything you want in the data and have it kind of concatenate all of them from the different group members of one machine. We could take a look at that. So let's look for that module that deletes files. So this is CFEngine build in Mission Portal. It's not a new feature in this release, but we are improving it. I'm going to use this module, which is called delete files, and it allows you to delete some files. I won't touch the input data here, but if we look at the description, you can see somewhere that there is this variable. So this means we can set this variable in the CMDB with the group's data that we just looked at. So for example, if we go to groups, Ubuntu.
All right, so maybe there's some Ubuntu specific file you want to delete.
Yeah, so in this example, let's say we want to delete some files here. What is it?
I think it's a data container.
Data container.
Because you have to provide the Y key.
Okay, let's go back and see what it says in the description. So it's a list of these objects. Let's just try this. What could go wrong?
It's my favorite game.
What could go wrong?
I think you got to set it to data though, right? Yeah. Whoa.
Oh,
That didn't do what you wanted.
I'm gonna try one more time to paste it here.
There we go.
And then it's even doing validation. That's great. So I think that's right. If that's how the module works, then we're lucky. So this one now says path temp virus and path home.shosts. So it has some information about different files that it's going to delete with this in this variable, which is what the module is using. So I'm gonna save that. And let's take a look at one of the hosts, probably. So this one. Probably we should try to create that file if we really want to see it deleted. Let's do that. Let's go to the terminal here. And let's do an agent run just in case we need to update. So now some stuff was updated. We can even see that the host specific.json was updated. There's some log messages here about packages. That's not what we're looking at right now, but the agent seems to be working. Let's do temp virus. What's going on?
Did you push and deploy?
Maybe I didn't. Let's do that. All right, so I think what happened right now is that the data is already there. If we look at var CFEngine data host specific, we see the file called virus there. So you can see the temp virus. This data is already there. We just didn't have the module or the policy yet to do anything with it. But now we've pushed our change here, which was to add the module. And let's try to run this agent again. I'm going to run update and then the normal agent run.
Probably
Cool.
already gone.
Okay, so let's touch it and then run an agent.
Oh,
interesting. So where do I open a bug report to the module author, Nick?
yeah, check the repository.
Who could that be?
Anyway.
I think you're supposed to email nick.anderson@example.com.
Because you are the maintainer? No, but that's fine. We can look at another module and we can fix that problem with that module. But here we have another one that is new and quite interesting. So this module allows you to snapshot what is installed on a machine. And then whenever new packages pop up, you can have it automatically warn about those or even uninstall those. So I've already added it here and I've put it in warn mode, which means don't actually uninstall anything, but report on unwanted packages and give those warning messages. So that's what we were seeing here in the terminal when we run the agent. It says should remove package talk, but only warning. And the way that this works, we can take a look at the reports. So in addition to saving this snapshot and uninstalling or warning about packages, this one also has some inventory that it adds. So we can see the unwanted packages. And I think some others as well. Package enforcement status. Let's take a look at those. Maybe I want this one to be before here. And the zoom overlay, move that. So here we see a report, and these two columns that I've added is from this module. So it has unwanted packages and package enforcement status. We have a mix of machines here, and the specific one that we were looking at is this Ubuntu 22, where it says warnings, printing warnings about one unwanted package, and that's talk, so that matches. Some of the others in the list here, we see that they are compliant, which means that there was a snapshot of packages that are allowed, and there's no packages outside of that. Then for the last ones here, it says no snapshot file found, which I know why. It's because I added those hosts after I generated all of my snapshots. So let's go back to build and switch the mode a bit here. So if you go to this one, edit here, I'm going to switch to enforce just so we can see that. So this means that it will start uninstalling packages based on this list. So I'm going to get that deployed on my machines, and we can also look at the init one in the end. Okay, so that's deployed now, and it should already be on the hub, but let's go here. It might be that it's already uninstalling it, but that's fine. We can install it and see it uninstall as well. Okay, just to be sure. Let's update here, and then we run. All right, so that probably means that it's already uninstalled, but let's do apt install talk. And then run the agent right after. So this was apt installing. Talk is already the newest version. Here is the agent run.
Yeah.
If you run the agent like really quickly after you install something, it might have outdated data about what is installed. But yeah, add a sleep there or in the real world. We're talking about seconds here. So yeah, it removed that, and that's because it found that it was installed and it's not in this snapshot called packages allow list snapshot. So this file has a snapshot of all of the things that were installed when we made the snapshot, and talk is not in there. So to now get that snapshot going on the other hosts as well. We can use the last mode, which is init. And then we should see the hosts in that report. I'm going to go there very shortly. We should see them change the status that they're generating the snapshot, and then you can switch back to the warning mode or enforce mode for all of them. This mode we could also overwrite with the host specific data or group data. So let's just take a look here, kind of see how this works. I'm going to open an inventory report again. Unwanted packages and package enforcement status. Okay. So here we have an example of 10 hosts. We can see that 2 of them have started initializing now. So they have gotten this update in the input there, and they're now running in this init mode, which means they're generating these snapshot files that we're going to enforce later. In this case, the Ubuntu 22 has 600 installed packages and Ubuntu 16 has 454. If we want to speed things up, we can go in and trigger agent runs on individual ones, but this is going to happen automatically anyway. I have to move this zoom overlay around to be able to click things. Yeah, so now this one, we should see more of these are updated now. So yeah, you see the error ones, there's 3 left now. I'm not going to go in and click on each of them, but that's the idea. Any questions about this functionality?
Oh, cool. You said that you could change that mode from group data, so you could go to like it was like all the Debian 10 hosts, for example, that didn't have those files initialized. So you could go set that mode to init for Debian 10 hosts and then let it generate that snapshot without regenerating the snapshot for everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we can do some more experiments, but it's just like,
yeah,
takes some clicking to get individual machines up to speed. So let's say that we want to go back to warn mode. So now this is the default for all of them. Here it has an example that, you know, if you put this variable to init, then that's what's going to be the mode for a specific host or a group of hosts if you're using group data. Let's see here. Status. So here now we see that all of them have reached this state of initializing. That's what it was like 10 seconds ago, except for this one Debian machine, which is a little bit unlucky, it looks like. But we can try to, for example, go to groups and make a group for Debian. Let's call this Debian. In this case, it's 8 hosts because it includes Debian and Ubuntu, the Debian derivative. And in data, we are able to add a variable, change the mode to init.
Cool.
So now, because we're doing this merging and we put the data for some of the hosts, the Debian hosts, but not all of them, we should see this report kind of updating to reflect that the general default is that these will be in the warn mode, but we've said that Ubuntu and Debian hosts are going to be in init mode, generating the snapshot for use later.
Herman, you keep rebuilding this this little report here. You can still save it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let's do that. Unwanted packages as well is nice to have there. We already saw that one earlier. Save it. Let's call it package enforcement. We can share it, or even set it as public. Yeah, so like Nick was saying, I don't have to make this every time. I can just come back here and it's here under my reports now.
And notice that one Debian 10 host that says not reported instead of empty. So is it just kind of offline, maybe?
The snapshot found.
It is reporting something. So it is reporting the status here.
That's true. Yeah, right.
Just not reporting any unwanted packages since there's no snapshot of desired packages.
There you go.
Yeah.
If you poked it, it would probably come in.
Yeah, so now this is the policy server. So this one should be in init mode, so that's correct. Maybe we should go to one of the Red Hat machines and we can see that that one is not going to be initializing a snapshot anymore because, oh, I need to sign in. Welcome. That's fine. Yeah, so if you go here, go back to this report that we saved. Maybe try the rel one, see how that works. This one doesn't have a maintainer yet. Maybe it should be Nick. Yeah, compliant. So now this one says compliant. So that means there is a snapshot there and it checked all the installed packages and it found that all of them are allowed per the snapshot. And I don't think we need to show it again, but like earlier, if I install talk or something else, it's going to show up here in unwanted packages. And then if you change to enforce, it will start uninstalling those things.
Cool.
And that's, I mean, these are just some examples of modules. You could do the same kind of thing for users or files or running software, whatever you want to do. You can make modules that enforce this kind of thing, and also define these kind of variables that you can set either from here, but also through the CMDB system and through the group data.
That's
More
cool.
fun
Thanks
questions.
for taking us on a tour. Yeah, does anybody who's on the call have any other questions? I don't see any questions there. Any things you want to spill for maybe what we'll see in upcoming releases related to this?
Yeah, so we're always working on these features. The module input here is, some of the things are new and some more things are coming. For example, here, warn or init or enforce, it could be a drop down. It's a bit easier to understand instead of having to read the label to see what to put there. Like, we can write it here, but it would be nicer if it was just a drop down. So we're always improving these things, and this is a non-LTS release. So the idea here is that people should test this and see the new functionality, and in 1 year's time, this will be in a more polished state where it's ready for production use and in an LTS release.
Awesome.
I have one question though. It's a module, right?
This is a module. Packages allow this snapshot. Yeah.
Okay. And how is it written in what is it, Python?
No, this one is written in CFEngine policy. So here is the repo on GitHub. It's just one policy file.
Okay. Cool.
So to make these modules, it's very simple to just write the policy file, and you really only have to kind of decide on this part here. That, let's see here,
because
like,
you have a main CF, right? But there do live other main CFs on the system or not?
Yeah. So in this case, I've called the policy file main.cf.
Okay. But the bundle isn't called. Okay, that's okay.
But
okay.
as long as you have them in different directories, you can have many main.cf files, and this is only kind of
Okay, my bad.
convention.
Well, my policy would be to always have the name of the bundle being the file name. So, but this is your system, so okay.
Yeah, you can do the same thing. You can make modules and name the policy files whatever you like after the entry bundle name or anything like that.
So the way that we typically do it is that we put all of these modules in one place here. So it's master files, services, CFBS, modules, and then the name of the module.
Okay,
so here we see them.
So the modules are not the modules like there are above services, because you have two modules now.
Yeah, I have delete files and I have packages allow snapshot.
That's not what I mean. I mean, above services, you see another directory modules.
Yeah.
Yes. Different type of, so those are package modules for packages promises, and then classes and vars modules, like the legacy original modules, like where you can define classes and vars based on the output format of the module protocol.
Yeah, so the kind of the idea here is that we recommend that custom things go into services. Everything else in the master files policy framework is kind of outside of services. And so, yeah, we're just trying to keep these things separate. So normally what we say is You know, here where you have your main.cf file in services, or you can make a subdirectory here. That's where you work on your policy, and that way you're keeping it separate from our policy.
So the modules that live in the modules, root directory modules, that are the master files modules.
Yes, they come with every install of CFEngine.
Yeah, okay.
And yeah, so it's just about trying to keep things separate. Your things go in here, and we also put the things that you've added with CFEngine build in this specific directory.
You can see
But
that
this
one
is,
there.
yeah,
the
this is
delete
all by
file.
convention. This is not enforced. You can do what you want, but we're just trying to have some consistent conventions around this.
Cool. Thanks for the question. Any other questions from anybody? No? All right, then I guess we can wrap this one up and put it in the bag. Episode 26.